God, like there's a lot of, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of books out there. There's a lot of content.
There's a lot of everything, right? And I think that can make us feel like not reading anything, not doing anything, because it's like this like you go on an aisle of toilet paper and there's 200 options, and it's like maybe actually having like 6 options, there's something beautiful about that, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So hopefully we're only going to share one book at a time when we do this, so it's not like, because I have also, you know, like I follow a lot of people where they're like, you want to know about social justice, you want to know about this, here's the 36 books to read, and you're like, 36 books? You're just like,
Especially if it's all about the same topic, because then you're like, how do I pick, right? Like if these are all supposed to be teaching me about, but these are like very different directions.
So I like to start like one book at a time, especially if it's like a book club, you know, you can think of it like that, like this is what we're reading if you want to read with us, and if you want to reach out to us, we're real people and we'd love to chat with you about the book that we're reading.
Would love to hear your thoughts on anything that I'm reading, because this is our favorite member of the book club. She loves reading anything about catnip. But we always love to hear your thoughts, and also recommendations, right? If you're like, hey, I loved this book, like if you liked this, you might like that. And or if you're looking for a recommendation as a librarian's daughter in both a practical 3D sense and also a cosmic and karmic sense, I probably have a recommendation for you. So just throwing that out there.
I might.
I think between the two of us, we'll definitely have a recommendation for you. Yeah, if there's a specific thing.
I'm a slow traveler, I'm a slow reader, I'm a slow talker.
But you do have good stuff. I mean, you may not have as many books as me, but like the books you have are very good.
Yeah, everything I try to do slow, sustainable, and present.
Quality.
And quality. I've gotten over the... I think when I was a youth, I read a lot, and I had a huge library, and I constantly had, 12 to 20 books next to me at all times, because I thought
I read Gemini Moon too. It's very interesting too, like two different ways of that playing out.
I could read it all, right? I thought somehow if I just kept this direction of the amount of reading, I could somehow in my lifetime read it all. And then I don't know, I was like 10 when I fully realized that like that was not ever gonna happen. Like that was not ever gonna happen. And I think slowly by like, I don't know, somewhere after college is when I started being more like,
a shift.
If I'm gonna read, it's gonna be like, slow and steady.
You know what's so funny?
I think it's because school forced so much like inundation that I was like, I don't think I got as much as I could have if I was more.
You know what's hilarious? Word for word, you're describing, like our paths are flipped. And it's so funny because Brooke and I are both Gemini moons. Like everything I said about books being like a source of nurturing, good energy and like finding pleasure in reading and like voracious appetite for reading, right? That's going to be true for both of us. But it's so interesting because like you as a youth is like me now, and you now is exactly like my parents, as two academics and a librarian, right, trained me to read the way you read. And that's how I did it up till probably around like after college. And it helped me through school. It definitely helped my academic prowess, right? And like focus and all of this. But I felt it was, for me, it was such torture because yes, I could read a book cover to cover and digest it and go really slowly and make all the notes and blah, blah, blah. But my brain really just wanted to be opening this other thing and diving into here and cross-referencing and getting this other book, right? But because of, the sense of discipline, whatever that was imposed on me, I was like, no, I had this rule where I could only have one book at a time on my nightstand and I had to read it cover to cover. I couldn't not finish a book. So I literally couldn't start a new one until I finished an old one. So I read tediously and laboriously and intensely like some really boring stuff and long stuff because I had this crazy rule. Like I went way off the deep end with it, And then like over the years in my 20s, I started to like add some leniency where I was like, okay, I can have multiple books on my nightstand if they're in different languages. So I'd have like one French book and one English book and then like a Japanese comic book. And then eventually I was like, okay, well, if I can set a book aside, as long as I finish it at some point. So as long as I, it doesn't have to be now, but I can start a new one and then I'll go back and I'll finish the old one. And then at some point I was like, what are all these stupid rules? I can start and stop as many books as I like anytime and it's fine. And as for me, as soon as I started doing that, I think just like for you on the other side, you started doing it your way and you're like, oh, I'm getting so much more out of this, right? For me, I started doing it the way you did it when you were younger. And I went, oh, wow, now I'm flowing with synchronicity. So now I really try to listen to my instinct about what book I want to read when. And I try not to listen to anything rational about oh, but you just started this book, why are you starting another one? Or you shouldn't buy any more books because you already have enough books on this subject or whatever. I try to just let synchronicity guide me. And it has been really interesting, where that path has led. And I really feel like there's something, in my brain that knows better than my conscious self about what piece of information I need at any given moment. And that has been really cool to see. So yeah, I think it is interesting. You're getting two very different perspectives on book consumption, and I feel like there's probably a model in there somewhere for everyone, between the two of us. Yeah.
I feel like the world just got so fast.
Yeah.
And I wanted so badly to slow down. I think in my youth also there was no cell phones. So multi-reading didn't feel the same as it does. It's almost like multi-reading now feels like flipping and doom scrolling. It feels not as digested information. And I think that's what also slowed me down was all this other tech stuff I'm doing all the time. This is my slow time. This is
yeah, no, that's interesting because
for
me it was the opposite growing, because we're very similar age generation, right? Growing up without the cell phone and being in that slower pace, it was natural for me to read like that. But then as things started to speed up and I finally got a smartphone 3 years ago, right? I was like, oh, wait, I don't have to live in the Stone Age. I can, jump around. And I think with social media specifically, I'm very disciplined about not become a big part of my life. So it's this is kind of where, I never thought about it that way, but this is kind of where I allow myself to scroll and flip and just and it's kind of fun, I'm like, oh, I see why, I can see why this is addictive. It
kind of has that same, energy.
Uh-huh,
so that's why, because for work here, I'm doing that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
It's really I have to be pretty intentional and calculated with where am I being meditative?
Yeah. So it doesn't just completely take over your whole. Yeah. That makes sense. That's really interesting.
So with that,
anyway,
what book am I reading? So the book that I am currently obsessed with, and I am calling it my Bible currently, is All About Love by Bell Hooks. It really made me sit with, and I think I'm at my 4th time reading it through completely, and I have 30 pages left.
In how much time? 4th time
in a year. I think it was quarterly, pretty much.
Wow. Okay. Cool. That's really cool.
For a year.
And so you haven't been reading any other books this time?
Not really.
Wow. No, that's really impressive. I love that. I mean, you're gonna know that book. You're gonna get a very different review from this than me. That's half a chapter into my book while reading 14 other things.
Yeah. If you wanted lots of notes and this, what is this? Let's see what I said.